This league is all about promoting young kids from the age 16 to 21, all the way through hockey ranks up into university or the NHL. So it's incredible to see the alumni list that comes through. Big names like Mike Vernon, Mark Messier, Lanny McDonald are all league alumni as well.
It's Monday and time for the Back to Business podcast, featuring Calgary's industry leaders, insightful and inspiring conversations with founders, CEOs, entrepreneurs, and philanthropists who help shape our city. Heralding from the Calgary Petroleum Club, connecting Calgary's business leaders since 1948. In the spirit of reconciliation, we acknowledge that we live, work, and play on the traditional territories of the Blackfoot Confederacy, the Siksika, Kainai, Piikani, the Tsuut'ina, the Eahe Nakota Nations, the Métis Nation Region 3, and all people who make their homes in the Treaty 7 region of southern Alberta. Welcome today's show host, Kim Hayden.
Today's guest is Lyle Peterman. Relationships and attention to detail, building community are all key focuses when it comes to serving his clients. That same mantra flows through all aspects of his personal and social life. Lyle Peterman is a second-generation Albertan with a passion for this city, real estate, local music, and the sport of hockey. Well, welcome to the show, Lyle. How are you?
I'm so happy to be here. Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking.
My pleasure.
I'm excited to get to know more about you because for somebody who is as young as you are actually quite prolific on many fronts here in Calgary. So tell us, who is Lyle?
Who is Lyle? Well, second generation Albertan, but I will say this, I was taught young that the importance of community is there. So if you want something done, you kind of got to go out and build it. If you want a group around you, you got to go out there and find the people. And that's kind of what I've always focused on. So I'd say it comes right back from my parents originally. They were always into community service, always on town council. My mother was, I believe, the youngest student trustee. At 19 years old, she was a school board trustee. So just kind of always learned that go out, put yourself out there, and networks happen and people happen. So that's kind of who I am, and moved to Calgary about 7 years ago, kept the same principles I had from a small town, and it's working out. I'm here as well. So
it's working out, eh?
It's working out, yeah.
And I had the opportunity of meeting you, not realizing you were going to come in for an podcast guest, but meeting you here at one of the members mixers at the club and sitting here watching you and hold your own against people who are 10, 15 years your senior, and just very astute and very articulate.
Well, I think that's one of the cool things about the club and the young professional membership too, is just to be around people like that is incredible. But those mixers are a great event. We try and go to all of them we can, just because it's one of the best benefits of the club. But yeah, you know what? Age is just a number, but you just got to put yourself out there sometimes.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's go in. We all have our professional side.
Yes.
And we don't want to not talk about your professional side, but I'm really excited about getting to your passion side. But let's start professionally.
Fair.
What is it that you do, and who are you? How do we support you business-wise?
So I'm a realtor with Charles Real Estate. We're a local real estate firm here. We're based out of Britannia. About 65 agents now in the city, primarily inner city. But for our specific brokerage, I'm the rural expert as well. So I do all around. I'm licensed in commercial and ag. Ag commercial, not business commercial. And I do everything from Red Deer County to Foothills County and everything in between. And I've been doing that now for 11, 12 years. I've been licensed. I got licensed very young. And it's a great business. I love it. I love the people. I love the day-to-day change. I just love driving around this great province and selling real estate, I guess.
That is amazing. Yes. A lot of people as young as 18, 19, 20 would not get licensed in real estate because it can be, well, nobody my age is going to be buying.
Yeah.
But I think that maybe then lends to the community spirit that you speak to,
yep.
and also kind of your disposition, learning from your mother in that whole get in there young.
Yeah, absolutely. I was, at the time, I was in horse jumping was my profession and my passion in life. So I did that all across North America and Europe, Lived in Germany right after high school, did that as well. Came home, my body was starting to feel like I can't do this long term. So I actually had owners of one of my stables that I was training out of. They owned a little real estate boutique firm in Red Deer. And they said, you know what, you'd be great at this. Why don't you get licensed? And as you're riding, you can do this on the side. And we have a bit of a professional career too, not just through the horse sports side. Turns out the moment I was licensed was probably the worst part of my back injury. And I thought, all right, it's time to pivot into this full time. So that's kind of how I got there. And I got to credit them a lot. They taught me about everything I needed to know early on. Contractually, they were like ex-lawyers and very into it. Business side, extremely astute that way too. So learned a lot young and just kind of sponged it all in and carried that with me to Calgary.
That's amazing. That is absolutely you in a nutshell. You
Yes.
came into it through community.
Yep.
And that's amazing. Now I'm dying to dig into the passion side of you because I meet a lot of people who are in their 30s.
Yes.
And not everybody has honed in as to that servant leadership kind of mentality. And I would love to know a bit. So start me out. You're the Wrangler's voice. Like walk me through kind of how you've started all this.
Okay. I have a few roles, I guess.
Awesome.
Many hats, but we can start with the Wranglers. They're a brand new team to Calgary. They came in last year. They're the American Hockey League, so they're the Flames farm team, essentially. The American Hockey League is a North American league, probably the second best hockey league in the world. And they were originally in Stockton. At one point, they were in the Lower Mainland, Stockton. Now they're back home in Calgary. So that was really cool. I was hired in their inaugural season last year as their PA voice. So that's the big voice you hear in the dome. Goals, penalties, intros, that kind of thing. But you might think, how did I get to that role? Well, that goes back to when I was about 15. Actually, no, go back even further. I was probably 11. And we were asked to do a school project in grade 6. And that was pick your dream career and job shadow it. So at the time, most of the kids in the class did their uncles or dads or stuff and plumbers, electricians, which is great. But I was like, no, I'm going to email Ken King, or I guess at the time, mail Ken King, and introduce myself and say I want to be the Flames announcer. So he got back to me, set me up with Beasley, who's still there today, and I did my job shadow with him in grade 6. Later on, I guess this was last year, so at 31, I was 32, 31, somewhere in there, lose track of our age. The job opening for the AHL team came open, and I applied, kind of told that exact same story, did my demo tape, and I was hired based on that. So I got to interview or do my first day orientation with Beasley again, and he remembered darn well who I was from that many years ago, just because not many kids that age aspired to be a PA announcer, I guess. Then how I got there on the experience side was came back home to my hometown of Olds, Alberta, started volunteering for our junior hockey team there, the Olds Grizzlies. By 3 or 4 seasons in of being a mascot, the PA role opened up. I did that. I was very young, but trying to get that big voice, even though I had a teenager's cracking voice back then still. And then just kept volunteering over and over for provincial hockey tournaments, for Innisfail's senior team, for Red Deer teams, and just kept building the resume out. So what I didn't know back then was PA is not a profession. There's not a full-time role. So that was a nice learning curve as you got older. But I did learn that if you have enough balance in life, you can do those kind of roles as a passion project. And it really fulfills a lot about you. And it's not about the money. It's just about being around the great sport of hockey. So that's kind of how I landed the role in Calgary. And we're entering season number 2. We kick off here in late October, and I can't wait.
And I hope everybody caught that. What's the greatest sport?
Hockey.
I caught that. I love how you rolled that. That was beautiful.
I have to say it is. I mean, there might be some football fans out there who argue both football, American or European, but hockey's where it's at.
Hockey's where it's at. I met a gentleman recently that moved from England because his boys loved hockey and they were really good on the English team. And then they moved to Canada, Alberta, and found out maybe they're not as good as they thought, but they still love hockey.
Yeah, it'll elevate them,
Absolutely.
bring their game up.
Absolutely. One of the things that I'm seeing here is that there's something very unique to you in the sense that you you see what you want and you're creating the path. You're not allowing any kind of roadblocks in there. Is
Yes.
that something that has always been part of who you are from a young child forward?
Yeah, I watched my parents build businesses. My mom was in the auto industry. My dad was owned an electrical contracting company. And so I always just kind of saw that. They never really were put into a role. They always built their roles or were elected their roles or whatever they did. So that's kind of the same principles I've kept with. Right now with, we can get to the Canucks in a second here, but with the Calgary Canucks and the Alberta Junior Hockey League, I work with a lot of young volunteers who are trying to make it in this industry in sports marketing and sports management. And a lot of times when you're younger, you look at it and you go, this is the role I want, but I have no idea to get there. And my advice continuously is just get involved in any level. I started as a mascot and yeah, I had a lot of fun with it, but that wasn't the end game. And you kind of have to open those doors by putting yourself out there. And volunteerism is something that I feel might be dying with some of the younger generation. It's more so in the smaller towns, smaller centers. That's how you gain opportunity. But in Calgary, I noticed that there's far and few between young kids who are out there really giving their time. And if I see one of those coming up through our organization, I give them all of my effort I can to really promote them through. So that's what I would say is the number one focus there is just getting involved. And volunteering is great. I actually it's a passion, but no matter what project it is, you meet the best people, you learn so much. And in the end, I don't know, I've always found money should never be your primary focus.
They actually say people who chase money don't make money.
Makes sense.
It's really a fascinating dilemma. It's a fascinating dilemma in today's world where we're seeing a lot of shifts economically, businesses restructuring everything, and a lot of people are running around with a bit of fear. Yeah. And nothing like volunteering to serve those that you care about, that you want to see do better, to get yourself out of your own head.
Yes. And don't just do it for the resume build. Do it for the people you're going to meet, because that's who's ultimately going to guide you forward. Whether it's just advice, whether it's an introduction to a job, an opportunity. But it's not just about the resume building. Always track your resume and keep that going, but really focus on the relationships. That's what's worked for me.
So let's talk about some more passion projects, because
sure.
You managed a large gala, a large event for the Canucks recently. Can you walk me through what that was and what repeatedly happens and where you're at within this organization? So
I was the chair of the Alberta Junior Hockey League Showcase. And then we did have a banquet, which I'm not going to take credit for chairing that portion of it, because that was a subcommittee under our main committee that did a fantastic job. But I'll start with the showcase. What this did is brought 16 Alberta Junior Hockey League teams to our city for the first time. This is hosted in places like Brooks, Camrose, Blackfalds, and never Calgary. And I thought, well, this is where the scouts want to be. This is where the most hotel rooms, the best things to do are. So we put a bid together. We were selected very highly by our league to be the host here. And it was excellent. We had 16 games. Fans from across the province attended. We've got great partners like Tourism Calgary stepped up to help. Nutrien stepped up. So made a lot of great connections for the organization going forward. But that was an excellent thing out of the Max Bell Center. For those of you who don't know, it's a beautiful arena in Calgary. It's been nicely renovated the last few years, and it's a great place to watch hockey. A little 2,000-seat bowl. It's very intimate, and it's a great spot to watch the game. The event that was the dinner was an evening with legends, and for Flames Oiler fans, it was Mark Messier and Lanny McDonald. TSN's Gord Miller was the host, and it really brought together about 800 people to the Big Four in Stampede Park. Excellent hockey talk, raised a lot of money and awareness for the organization and for Sport for Calgary. And all about promoting the Calgary Canucks, really. If you don't know, we're the oldest Junior A hockey league or team in the league in Alberta. We've been now 52 seasons. The league's been going for 60, so we're one of the only almost original teams. And this league is all about promoting young kids from the age 16 to 21, all the way through hockey ranks up into university or to the NHL. So it's incredible to see the alumni list that comes through. Big names like Mike Vernon, Mark Messier, Lanny McDonald are all league alumni as well. And these guys really become young men, young professionals, and they do that here. Junior hockey is a funny thing, right? They'll leave home at 16, they'll live with a billet, they'll go to a new city or town, And then it's really up to these organizations to develop them as young men and young people in our society. So that's what I've always enjoyed about that side of it. Calgary is one of the very few locally owned, board-ran nonprofit teams. We have no owner. We work off the backs of volunteers year in, year out. We run a very big budget that comes from corporate donations and from volunteerism, and it's a cool thing to see. There's very few organizations left like that in the sports world, per se. So really enjoyed that. And yeah, it was fun. We had scouts from every NHL team here. We had probably 40 to 50 universities from across North America, and really got to showcase Calgary, which was nice.
And Calgary is morphing into a global leader in cities. Like every front you can think of when we think of, the community base, but we also think of art, and we think about the conversions happening with the commercial and bringing people back downtown and creating this very vibrant epicenter, basically, where we come and the heart is beating. Yeah,
and that reminds me about the events. So one thing we love is live music in the city, and we have a outstanding local live artist scene where these artists are not just talented, but they're working harder than any group I've seen work. Like, they are out there pounding the pavement. So what we were able to do, being in Calgary for the first year of this event, which is an annual event, but the first time Calgary hosted it, we had a showcase stage brought to you by Ranchman's, the stage and bar down south. And we brought in 16 different artists for every game, had live intermission music. And this is something that, these hockey events just don't typically do. But it was so cool to showcase what Calgary is as a spirit too. The one day we had horses out front. The next day we had a teepee being built, and we celebrated Truth and Reconciliation with our friends from Siksika. And it was a really cool event to kind of really showcase Calgary beyond the hockey side of it. So it was a lot of fun, a lot of work, but a lot of fun.
You know what? Everything worthwhile takes a bit of work.
Absolutely.
Real quick, do you by chance know the like a website domain or anything that if somebody's listening and they have a 12 or 13 or 14-year-old that they're really looking at how they can better get involved for the Canucks?
Absolutely. So CalgaryCanucks.ca, it's a tongue twister there, so many C's, is our team website. From there, you can go to the volunteer, you can go tickets. I recommend just coming and checking out a game first, kind of getting to know what the atmosphere is like. It's very different. I love CSEC and all their teams in the Dome and McMahon Stadium, but this is a different environment, more of a small town hockey game feel where your kids can still go run around the track or can leave you 2 sections over and you're not going to be worried. But go check out a game, and if you do want to get involved, there's very easy to find emails or phone numbers on that website to get involved, and it'll be me on the other end that'll introduce you. But we have a great team. We're always looking for more, of course. We have young students at 16, and then we have our camera operator joined last year. Same thing, he wanted to chase a passion project. I think he's 83 years old. He said, I really want to be a camera operator. And gosh, he's excellent now. He's been his second straight season, and you would swear he's been doing it his whole life.
Awesome.
So
that is awesome.
It's such an inclusion forward group that works for that team. So it's been a lot of fun.
So you do so much. It's like I'm sitting here going, does Lyle sleep?
Mm-hmm.
But
from 11 till 6.
From 11 till 6. There you go. Don't text them from 11 to 6. You probably won't get a response. I want to shift the gears a little because you have stepped into a pretty important, not that the Canucks is not important, but
Absolutely.
This is important on a socio kind of level where we're dealing with a social issue.
Yes.
Can you walk me through kind of your role and what you're doing for Not So Silent Night?
Okay, so my role as founder with my husband Morgan Melnick, we're both members here. We had a Christmas party we hosted as we've been together. We started doing these joint Christmas parties with our friends. And we said one year, why don't we turn this party into some kind of charitable or fundraising event? There was 2 main principles. Local music was always there, and supporting a charity and giving them both a voice during the holiday season. So we started 5 years ago, and this is year 5, out of Trolley 5 in their upper area, the atrium, I think they call it. And we sold about 135 tickets, raised $8,000 in just loved it. Had really good time. We chose Not in My City to be the charity for a few reasons. Morgan had worked with them a little bit through MNP, his employer, and we met Paul Brandt through that as well. And he's the founder of that charity. So in the first year, we chose them to work with. We thought that'd be a great fit in terms of the music connections with Paul. And then we started to learn about what Not in My City actually does and the importance of that work. And we said, okay, that's our people. We're going to work with them for every event and as long as they'll have us. So that partnership has been great. We've done now 2 events a year. We've launched a summer one this summer at Marriott on the rooftop patio, and then we're back with our 5th year of the winter one. And a Not So Silent Night is a chance to come together. It's a Christmas dinner. I'd say it's like a gala banquet, black tie kind of event. It's here in the Devonian room of the Petroleum Club. We always do it first Thursday of December. So it's December 7th this year. And we have our artist list coming out. Tickets are on sale October 1st. So depending when this comes out, that might already be over available. I believe it'll be in the members' emails as well. But it's been incredible. We'll now have raised over $100,000 this year. And from taking this from a Christmas party with our friends to now a community event has been awesome. I think our alumni list of artists has grown to above 20. This year we'll have Paul Brandt performing, Drew Gregory, Mitch and Justine Ballot, Devin Cooper, the Alberta Country Music Awards Horizon Male of the Artist of the Year, Mariah Stokes, Foxworthy. I'm trying to miss anyone here, but an incredible live music lineup. So if you like live music, how it works is every 15 minutes is a new set. The artists do 3 or 4 original songs and 1 Christmas song. And then we do a little bit of talking. We teach the people about Not in My City. We focus on the fundraising efforts, the silent auction, that kind of thing. Dinner is served, first course is served, dinner is served, dessert is served. And it's a pretty cool Christmas concert kind of feel. Plus, as you know, this place is magical during the holiday season up here. So.
It's beautiful here. It's beautiful here. And those tickets are they available to public also? Or
it's completely a public event. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what a great way to come in and a lot of us out there, because I myself am an entrepreneur, no longer a solopreneur. Yes. I'm so happy when it's to move beyond the solo style, the silo of the solo. But
I like that silo of the solo.
Yeah, there you go. But it's great to be able to find places and to celebrate with your team of 5, right?
Yes.
So would this be a great option for those entrepreneurs or small businesses that maybe don't have a Christmas party?
Absolutely. And we saw a few organizations take that chance to do that. We have tables of 6, 4, and 8, I believe, are the nominations. Awesome. We really set it up so no one has their back to the stage, so it's all half moon seating. VIP tables on the floor have obviously the best experience, but really there's not a bad seat in that room.
Oh, there's not a bad seat at all.
Acoustically and visually speaking, it's great. And yeah, I love the showcase of different artists, and you get if you maybe don't like one style of music, don't worry, because 15 minutes later there's a whole new set coming up. But our artists are extremely talented, all local too, which is incredible when you think about just how many artists in Calgary are making such a splash in the music scene, and just not just country, but beyond country as well.
What I find fascinating, I've been in Calgary since 1998, and what I have watched over the last, this is just me, and please do not send any hate mail when you hear this, but I will say, I do believe that the slowdown in 2015 and that refocus has given our city an opportunity to breathe new life into its industries and interests. I mean, we see things like all of the tech innovation and medical innovation that's coming in. And I love the fact that our millennials have taught us something incredibly, incredibly important. That whole kind of modular business hustle, however you want to look at it, that you don't have to work 40, 45 hours a week at one job for 40 years, that you can actually grow and experience through volunteerism, through engagement.
I grew up in a small town in Alberta, central Alberta, and it was really like the path for young guys was either go to Fort McMurray and you work 2 weeks on, 1 week back home and enjoy to spend your money. And I thought, no, I'm not gonna do that. So I totally agree. A little bit of the pivot there has helped. There's some cool things in our art scene happening in Calgary. The Arts Commons expansion is incredible. One of my clients, when he got hired on as the CEO, Alex Sarian, his vision for this city in the arts world is like, he's from New York and it's on par with New York. He's got big vision for what the city can do.
I think if you're not in Calgary, or if you're new to Calgary, or if you have been raising kids for 20 years and you're in one of the suburbs and now you want to discover Calgary, there is some really cool stuff happening. I know that our Calgary Downtown Association is cranking it up hardcore to bring people back into the downtown so you can have lifestyle enjoyment down here. I know that we have world-class orchestra, world-class theater. We have more Red Seal chefs.
Yes.
Because SAIT has one of the best programs North America wide. Knowing all of this in and around Calgary, there's so much going on. Like, Calgary really is, you would never have to leave. If you didn't want to leave, except for maybe in the end of January when it's really cold and I want to run away to the beach.
Yeah, but then I just go to a hockey arena.
There you go.
There you go. No, I would agree. It's not really lacking any of the major things. And going back to kind of professionally real estate, like, we're getting a lot of influx from Ontario, BC, newer Canadians who are choosing Calgary. And you almost sometimes feel like you're overhyping it, but they're asking questions and every answer just sounds so great. And they go, I had some of them ask me like, well, Calgary sounds too good to be true. And I'm like, well, there's downsides and there's things you might not like or might be a little bit different than you're used to in Toronto, but no, it's just all upside. There's a lot of great things happening here.
Well, I think we've made it in the Economist Journal the last 2 years in the top 10 globally for cities to live and work in.
And that takes so many factors into account when they do that ranking system. It's not just some writer picking top 10 they like. It's incredible. And the fact that it's consistent. Different art or different publications will have different lists, but Calgary seems to continuously be up in that top 10. And that's saying a lot. I've been in some of the cities that we're compared to, and that's a good.
Do you think part of that is because we generally skew to a younger demographic? Do you think that we are maybe moving through some of these global changes that are happening economically and traditional workspaces and stuff because we do have younger people?
We skew younger, yeah. And I've just found Calgary's always had that welcoming spirit no matter what. So if you want to be involved, there's very few barriers to entry in Calgary for anything you want to get involved with. Whether it's like the Stampede, for instance, that's one of my primary examples. That entire event, it's like a global leader in events. There's probably only 2 or 3 that compare in the world. That's ran off volunteers, ran off committees, ran off year-round work from people who just get involved. And that's kind of, to me, a great synopsis of the city as a whole. And that's what I tell people when they're moving here is, where should I go, or what community do I want to live in? I'll ask them questions like, where do you want your kids to go to school? What do you want your weekends to look like? And no matter where they are, they can find that in pretty much every corner of the city. So that's pretty incredible opportunity.
So speaking of where to go and what you can find, you are going to be a guy that I know that as soon as I ask, what's a hidden gem that not everybody knows about? Or maybe you've lived here for 20 years like me and you still don't know about. What's your fave?
Okay, I'm going to go outside the city.
Awesome.
And this is just outside the city. But this is because the shift during COVID became really quickly, okay, I want a little bit of a vacation property or somewhere we can go escape, unwind, breathe. But I don't necessarily want to be in the traditional ones where Calgary goes to, Kelowna, the Shuswap, that kind of area. I want to be closer to that. And this kind of ties back to where I grew up to in Mountain View County, but it's called Water Valley. That's going to be my real estate tip for you.
Okay, where is Water Valley? Because in all truth, I have no clue.
So most people don't. So Water Valley is this little area just to the northwest of the city, and it's about 50 minutes once you leave the city limits. So it's a quick drive. It's a beautiful drive when you see the mountains, and you get there. It's these rolling foothills along the base of the Rockies. It's called Water Valley for a reason. There's little lakes and sloughs all over and wetlands. It's treed. It's got big views. It has a little cute town there with a general store. And on a weekend, you can still see horses tied to the hitching post in front of the bar. All that kind of thing. It's got a little arts and culture center as well. An immaculate 18-hole golf course. And then little properties, everything from a place to go put your trailer to beautiful A-frames overlooking the mountains. So a bit of everything. But if you just want a break from the city, it's a really close one, even closer than going to Canmore. And then if you want actually a vacation property-wise, it's kind of one of my top picks for people to get that little outdoor space. Still relatively affordable too, in the sense of if you were going to compare it to Kelowna, let's say, or Penticton, that kind of thing. But that's my hidden valley on the real estate side. I am sure I could think of 15 different hidden valley or hidden restaurants and gems and stuff, but I wouldn't know the names. I'll leave my husband to that. He always just tells me where we're going.
I'm like that too. I like to get in the car, surprise me.
Yeah, and I always ask him, what was that place called? He'll know it right off the bat. But he enjoyed exploring the food scene here. Back to your comment about Red Seal chefs. Oh my gosh.
We have an amazing food scene. Like, if anybody saw me, they would actually. This is why I'm behind the mic. Oh wait, we've got cameras now. Oh,
we
no.
do, yeah.
Yes,
beautiful camera setup.
but from the waist up. Anything else that you'd like to share, Lyle? We have covered so much, and I love speaking to what we call multi-potentialites, individuals that have the potential on multiple levels, and you've embraced that. Anything else you'd like to share?
Oh, I'd say just don't be shy. Like if there's something that you think you want to try, get involved in that in some form. And you don't always, let's say, use hockey as an example. If one day you want to work for the Calgary Flames, just know there's probably 6 steps to get there. You're not going to apply and get hired. You're going to have to get the experience and learn the industry or learn that sport. I think that goes with kind of anything that's beyond just a straight up job. I guess the last thing I want to mention too is just the value of the Petroleum Club and the fact that I do not come from any oil and gas background. And that's the biggest thing that we come across, Morgan and I, when we're out talking about what we do at the club is, but neither of you are in oil and gas. It's like, well, it's much more diverse than that. And yeah, it's a great community here. If you do have any events, it's an amazing hosting space from anywhere from a 4-person lunch to a 300-person dinner. So we've loved being members here. We're the young professional, I believe it's called, which is a great benefit. I'd say if you can take advantage of that before you're 35, do it, because it's really good value for your money. And just come out and meet the people here. That's what I would say about that.
So much, always on the go. From the members mixers to they did the sip and paint. Sip and paint night. The chef here on occasion will run cooking classes. So she'll pick a different genre of, I think they just did Chilean not too long ago. Let's not forget, it is the largest, most diverse wine cellar in Western Canada.
We're having dinner there again coming up in a few months here with some friends. What an excellent spot that is. Other thing I'd say that I didn't think about until now is the reciprocal clubs too across North America. That's been a lot of fun. So everywhere we've gone from Vancouver to done Boston now, I think, a few other places, we've checked out their clubs. And it's pretty cool to feel like you're a member of these historic clubs just because you're a member here. So that reciprocal membership is pretty cool. I would say that's another hidden benefit that
absolutely
we don't think about enough.
Lyle, you are absolutely a person worth getting to know. I just have so enjoyed our conversation. Thank you for taking time out. I know you're super busy. You are awesome. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. We'll see you around the club.
Thank you for joining us today on the Back to Business podcast. Be sure to visit calpeteclub.com, CalPeteClub.com, to find out more about upcoming events, networking opportunities, and membership. If you are not already a valued member at the CPC, where we are proudly connecting and supporting Calgary's business leaders.